What's up, sports fans? My name is Jake, and welcome back to Game Day Eats. Week 9 in the NFL finishes up tonight with the Tennessee Titans heading south to face the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Both teams have 3 wins and 4 losses, are also second in their division, and trying to push for a playoff spot. One could say that this week will determine if either team will be able to make a playoff push, but should one? Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and always see what's cooking in the pan and other content that's going to be coming soon. Sit back and relax. This is Game Day Eats. Jumping into the recipe, we're going to start with the steak, where we're going to have a ½ pound of beef cube steaks, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, 1½ cups of buttermilk, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of hot pepper sauce, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 3 cups of corn oil. For the gravy, we're going to have 1/4 cup of flour, 4 cups of milk, and salt and pepper to taste. In the land of Texas, everything is bigger, and this dish is no exception. I've only had chicken fried steak a few times in my life, and most recently was at my mother-in-law's house. The first bite made me realize that I was missing out on something truly fantastic, so it had to be made again. Obviously, I'm not her, but we're gonna see if this can do. You can tell this is a Texan dish because of the way it is. You get to beat up the meat even after it's dead, which to me is something a Texan would do, or maybe Australian, but they don't need as much fried stuff as the Americans. Now, there is another term that floats around the cooking world, and a lot of people feel that it's like the word caramel and caramel. And what I mean is interchangeable, but they're not. The other type of fried steak is country fried steak, and let's figure out what the difference is. It's just the gravy. Chicken fried steak has a white peppery gravy, while country fried steak is covered in a brown gravy. And you thought there was gonna be a huge revelation, didn't you? Well, so did I. But sometimes the best things in life are fun facts that you can share with your friends. The traditional way to eat this dish is to make the patties out of steak, smother it with gravy, and serve it on a plate. But since you're going to be serving this up at your next football party, let's do a little bit differently. The main things you need for a successful finger food dipping contraption are the dipping contraption and the dipping sauce. We're making our chicken fried steak into little fingers. I'm going to do something crazy that might give me an upset phone call from my grandmother. It wouldn't be angry because, you know, she couldn't stay mad at me, of course. I'm making the gravy into a dipping sauce. With this, I never have to use a fork and knife again. Actually, my wife may have something to say about that. Our beer of choice comes from Spoutsoul Brewery from Shiner, Texas, which is pretty close to Dallas. And again, it kind of comes down to the limitation of where I am versus where these breweries are, of what I can actually get and drink. So we are drinking Shiner Bock. Our steak is chicken fried, gravy's done, beer's poured. It's time to taste.
And a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans.
It's like a southern grandmother just came into my kitchen and made this for me. Now let's try out our beer. As soon as you drink it, you can taste the hops. And it's not too hoppy like an IPA, but this is beautifully crafted. Now let's do some breakdown. Our visiting team for this week's Monday Night Football is the Tennessee Titans, and they are led by first-year head coach Mike Vrabel. For those who are thinking, why is this name familiar? It's because he played with the Patriots in the 2000s and won a few Super Bowls while he was there. He retired as a player in 2010 and joined the NFL coaching ranks in 2014 with the Houston Texans as a linebacker coach. From there, more promotions, accolades, blah, 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 blah. He's the head coach and doing pretty well so far. You can tell the defensive influence that Vrabel brings to the team with the free agent additions and draft signings. Not only was the personnel changed, their stats are reflecting the coach's understanding of how to play defense. Their current defensive rankings include 3rd best in points allowed at 18 per game and 11th best total yards allowed per game. They could work on getting more turnovers, but you take what you can get, especially with a rookie head coach. What is going to hold this team from being great is the offense, which includes a 30th worst marker for points per game with 15. As the great John Madden used to say, your offense needs to score more points than the other team in order to win. If my math is correct, having your offense average less than your defense does not accomplish that. Thanks, John Madden. Our host for Week 9 is the Dallas Cowboys, and they were the first to make a big splash in the trade pool before the trade deadline expired with the acquisition of Amari Cooper for a first-round pick in this coming year's draft. There have been a lot of flack for the fact that fans believe the Cowboys overpaid for their new #1 wide receiver, especially with the flurry of trades that happened last week with Demaryius Thomas going to Houston for a 4th-round pick and Golden Tate heading to Philadelphia for a 3rd rounder. Now let's break this down. Golden Tate is heading to a semi-stacked depth at wide receiver as the Eagles have built it up. He's not a clear number one, but can definitely challenge for the spot with consistent play over Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar. Over in Houston, there's obviously a clear number one with one of the best receivers in the NFL in DeAndre Hopkins. Demaryius Thomas is joining the squad solely on the fact that Will Fuller is out for the year and the Texans need a solid veteran depth to be a contender for the playoffs, not a pretender. All of that to say that Amari Cooper is the most talented receiver on the Cowboys roster. I believe Cooper has been lackluster in the same way that Randy Moss was during his tenure in the silver and black. Are they on the same level? We don't know yet. But did the Cowboys overpay for Cooper? Only Cooper knows the answer to that question and will answer it publicly with his play over the next few years. I want to point out that I was so close with the score of last week's game between the Patriots and the Bills. Collectively, I was off by 3 points, but I was sweating at halftime because of how close it was. I'm tearing through these projections, but I will not get cocky because in the NFL, juggernauts fall, underdogs triumph, and nothing makes sense. This week I'm looking to get my 6th win in a row, but this is not as clear cut as it has been in the past. That said, I'm going to take the Cowboys taking the win over the Titans by a score of 24-13 because the good old boys just put up 40 points on the Jaguars defense. That's not saying much these days, but it seems that their offense has been able to dissect their opponent's defensive schemes very well. And with Amari Cooper joining the squad, it seems that they can take it to the next level. Week 9 is put to bed, so subscribe and watch next week as we head over to the city by the bay when the San Francisco 49ers host the New York Giants, and we make Seal Pinot, which I have no idea what that is, but that's what the internet tells me to make, so we're gonna make it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the field.
And a little bit of chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio